What's going on, everyone? This is Michael Stewart Isaacs.
And this is Shemekka.
And this is your next edition of Sunday Stacks. Yes, Sunday Stacks. We are back. So excited about what an amazing week we have to share with you. We are always engaged and happy to be here on the Alive Podcast Network. Yes, it feels good to be alive, and we're grateful to continue to talk to you, the audience, here at Sunday Stacks as we continue to empower your week and see how things stack up week for week. So, Shemekka, what's going on in your world? How's it been stacking for you?
Oh, besides it feeling like time is flying by and it's been very hot lately, it's been stacking up pretty well. We had an Authors Up interview last week I was grateful to do to talk about While I'm Getting Naked. Ruth and her team interviewed me about lifting up key points as to, where the idea of the title came from, why I was interested in writing this, and they gave me their reflections and how much they fell in love with it too. So I encourage you to get your copy. You can go to Shemekka.com or WhileI'mGettingNaked.com and get your copy to tap into while you're getting naked and getting more real with yourself so that you can be the best version of who God created you to be.
I know that's right. It was a great interview. I was grateful to kind of be able to witness how, people can be transformed by your story in an instant moment. So again, that's Authors Up. So Authors Up is on Facebook.
Replay.
Yes, definitely replay it and check out that interview. It was a really great interview. What's some of your takeaways that you would say for the audience from that interview?
One of the stories that we talked about was making the note of 10 things I survived. And so I share in this segment talking about things that I survived, making a list and literally taking a moment in my life to reflect on what God had brought me through, brought me out of, and delivered me from. And sometimes we can be so busy in our life and frustrated about what's not working for us and what we don't have and what we wish we had or what we're waiting on that we don't realize and take note of the things that you survived. The other people are not surviving. The other people are losing their mind and stuck in depression. And so I would encourage you all, when you get While I'm Getting Naked, really be intentional of taking those reflective journal prompts and utilizing practical application. Because yes, it's about me getting naked, but it's also about me creating a pathway of what's possible for you to get naked too. So that was one of the key points that all the women gave some powerful reflections when they thought about things that they had survived, and they were encouraged to want to be able to revisit this and go beyond 10 because they just hadn't been in a place of gratitude in some of these cases for a while and just got so busy with life that thinking about what you survived kind of encourages you to keep going when you feel like you can't make it out of what you're in now.
I love it. So definitely, checking in with all things, we definitely want to continue to, talk more about the week.
Something else that stood out to me is I'm preparing to launch 2 groups. So it's also stacking that with the forum platform, we'll be launching the DEI program leaders and community champions for women that are leading DEI and ESG work in their organizations and their communities. We have a safe space for you to be refueled and renewed. So that's going to be launching this month. There's still more time. And then we also have Leadership Empowerment that's launching on Monday, and we're excited. That's going to be an open, ongoing group. So if you're not signed up by now, no worries. First of all, for both groups, first month's on me. So if you want to test it out and see if it's something you're going to like, then we're covering the first month because we believe in what we're doing in our own transformation and the community transformation that we're building. So I'm excited about what's stacking up with that. What's stacking up for you this week, Mike?
Yes! This week has been an amazing week. I have to definitely say this has been the week of my birthday.
Yes! Happy birthday!
Thank you all. My birthday was July 12th. I know it's a national holiday somewhere in the future, but
yes.
Definitely July 12th, 1983, I was graced the world with my presence, and I'm just grateful to be here. It makes me 41. So when I look back and reflect and say to myself, 20 minus 41 is 21. Oh my gosh, I'm 20 years from my 21st birthday. It just blows my mind. just to see how far, God has brought my life, just my life in general, just like I'm just here so long, being able to just make such impact since my 21st birthday to be 41. So I'm grateful for the age. I'm grateful to find celebration. As anyone who knows me, I'll say I'm 40-year because, I'm trying to celebrate the whole decade as a whole experience than just worrying about year for year.
Okay, so you got to tell us now, when you think about your 20 years of revelation since your 21st birthday, what are at least maybe 2 to 3 nuggets that you've been able to glean when you reflect back over these 20 years from 21?
That's pretty good. That's good. I'm going to give you over the decade. So from the decade from 21 to 31, I would say that was a time in my life where I had to really realize that the time clock of pressure, sometimes when you're young, you think you have to achieve certain things at a certain kind of time clock. And if you don't achieve them, you'll, kind of fall by the wayside or not be measured up to your, classmates from high school or college or any of those experiences. And then this last 31 to 41 has kind of really just been finding solace and peace within myself and really learning how to deal with this, elusive thing we call mental health, and really make sure that as I'm steering the ship for my own life and being a father, being a husband, I have to be a leader to others and be reliable. I really had to work on my ish, as they say, to really get it together. So as I learned at the time, horizon wasn't on my back in the first, decade, I guess, since I was 21 to now, just understanding what it is to be, mentally have some great mindset, mental well-being, understand what's important. It lets me really be confident in how I look back one day when I'm 51 and say to myself, man, I'm proud of the decisions you made because you definitely, tried to show a mastery of life. So I look forward, I pray for those days. I never take life for granted or any days, but I am grateful.
I want to definitely say I am proud of you. I've been in this last 31 to 41 time frame for most of it anyway. So I've seen your evolution. I've seen you be open to be transformed and be moldable by God and being led by the Spirit and being transformed into who you are today. I'm happy and honored to walk with you, and I'm proud to work with you and share our family, community, and company businesses.
I love it. As we always say, being brilliant in this last decade, I've learned how to be brilliant and be okay with what makes me brilliant. So, shout out to our production team, I Am Brilliant, but shout out to just you and just being here for me. You gave me a great birthday celebration. I got to enjoy the kids. My kids are phenomenal. If you know of anything, you definitely could check us out on YouTube. Of course, if you're up on here on YouTube, like and subscribe. We definitely appreciate the love. Yes. Please share, tell a friend to tell a friend. But also to see our weeks, check out our other social media platforms. You can find me on most platforms as Michael Stewart Isaacs, as well as you can find Shemekka under Shemekka Ebony, and being able to really be in a position to just reflect. We put a lot of cool videos out there that are inspirational, motivational, but it kind of shows a recap of a lot of what we talk about here in the show. So you can really get tuned into our world and really understand some of the inside jokes that you might hear here on the Sunday Stacks podcast.
Yeah, and shameless plug, if you're really interested and invested in following us, definitely subscribe to the Live Podcast Network. And for those of you that are familiar with Fanbase, I'm going to be releasing some more intimate content, realer conversations, realer experiences on there for those that are subscribing on Fanbase. So if you haven't tapped in, what you see on social media will be very general and icebergy from me specifically going forward, because I really want to connect with those that are invested and interested in walking more closely with me. So I wanted to create an online platform that could help center that. So definitely look out for us. Tap into our YouTube channels. And if you're on Fanbase, definitely look me up and subscribe there, as well as the Live Podcast Network. You can subscribe to Sunday Stacks and really support us in theory and practice.
I like that how you said icebergy. I hope all of y'all caught that. She said this. I'm tired. I'm just social media might be a little icebergy. That means she's just showing you a little bit of a taste. but she's moving the fan base with her personal brand to really allow for more engagement, more insights, more high quality things. So definitely tap in and check out Fanbase. Shout out to Fanbase. Started by a black founder that's really building. So we really want to not only use a tool that's definitely the next up, but also support our community and our culture. Because guess what? We're next up, right? Mm-hmm. And that definitely, something we focus here at Sunday Stacks. We focus on the FCC model, which we consider the family, community, and company. Yes, we feel like all of us, including ourselves, our priority should always be our family, which houses ourselves, but also then our community, which is also houses ourselves, because we're a part of communities, and you're a community with those that you communicate with. So people who live in neighborhoods, people who live right beside each other, if you're not communicating with one another, then you really have not established community yet. And the key to that is understanding that when we're communicating with our community, we share resources. And that's the key. We want to make sure that we're all willing to share resources for all of us to thrive. And most importantly, we can take resources and then we can start creating that entrepreneurial pursuit through company, through businesses, through teamwork, and really growing and working together. So that brings us to today's conversation. When we always look at our FCC model, we always have a main topic. And today we want to make it a free conversation, but we still want to theme it. And what I want to call this today, the state of ratchet culture and capitalism across the country. Yes, I know this is a unique topic today, but I wanted it to be provocative, a free conversation, something that really could engage you as an audience, because I know you all are hearing a lot of stale conversations, and we're going to get into the election, poll results and who shouldn't be in and shouldn't. But right now we want to stay really focused in regards to this overall free conversation of the state of ratchet culture and capitalism across the country. Because when I stated that thought process for today's topic, I realized that we're in a world right now where if something makes money, regardless of its moral right, then no one questions it because they're making money and they're able to pay their bills. So we don't care if what they did might have sent poison into someone else's household. As long as the person who did it is making money, we celebrate that. And I'm not just talking about black culture. I'm talking about all across the board. When we look at politics, when we look at anything in America, it truly seems that all things go. If it's funny, but even though if it's crude or disrespectful to somebody or disrespectful to a different gender or whatever, as long as it makes money, as long as someone's transacting, as long as people are viewing, then I guess it's okay. So we wanted to bring that and pose that to you, the audience. What is the state of ratchet culture and capitalism across the country? Because obviously we've all signed some agreement through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, where we signed our souls away and don't even realize that we signed our integrity away, we signed our moral values away. Heck, I beg to differ. I was talking with Shemekka earlier and saying that I believe there are more people now in the world that have a moral compass that's a lot more swayed towards the ratchet side of the world, where the average person believes that's the right way to be because it gets attention, because you make money, because, people are putting it out there all the time. So I guess it has to be okay. And we literally have raised a generation that does not know how to discern moral rights and wrongs, because we've deemed things to be funny that may make someone else the butt of the joke or may be wrong, something that makes money, thus getting numbers and views, thus being okay. We even put those people on our TV shows, our talk shows, clean them up, put them in a nice suit, but we don't ever say, well, what was the thing that got you recognized? And sometimes it could be violent, it could be, disastrous to someone's lifestyle, but we never question these things. Because why? It makes money. It sells products, major companies. And I'm saying that as someone in podcasting, but I ask myself when I sit here and say, we're here for family, community, and company. It sounds great, but are y'all listening out there? Or do I need to get a little bit more ratchet to get you all to rank up my numbers a lot more? This is the thing I pose to you all. And am I right to get more ratchet because it makes money? Or should I stay on some moral right that I want you all to start doing the right things and being more thoughtful, but maybe I'm wasting my time? You let me know out there, audience. But Shemekka, what's your thoughts?
Well, I lean more towards the latter of what you shared about leaning towards the right. And I say that from, knowing what's what you value, what's righteous to you, what's righteous to your calling. Like, yes, that's an individual statement, but I look back and I reflect on the things that I've been taught my whole life, whether it been from elders, whether it been community, whether it been senior people that I didn't know but knew my grandma or knew my grandfather. It was always taught to us, even in scripture, that, you can be in this world but not of the world. And if you take on a ratchet culture, which is of the world, which is a global phenomenon of what's accepted and what's normalized, even when it's harming our current and future generations, if everyone is doing that, then who is standing out? Who is the example? Who is the servant leader? Who is exempling what's right? We have some people that are sprinkled throughout various platforms, various industries that are holding this light. And I say this in the essence of family. It's important that you're taking a moral, righteous standard and expectation, that you are not allowing social media to teach your kids how to fight for rights that they don't understand or can't possibly grasp the pain, or the fact that they may be ignoring social justice issues that are happening and inequitable things that are happening around them. They need to learn the right thing to do by example, by us exempling this. And I say this often with the age of social media and the amount of time that we spend in front of screens, that we are learning how to do this at the same time that our children are. And if we bow down and allow them to tell us what the right thing is based on ratchetness and what the culture is leading, then we are allowing our kids to go down a pathway of destruction. And it is our accountability as parents to show what's better, not only in word but in action.
I love that thought. And one thing I think to myself, growing up, I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in the hip hop culture, which was kind of that freestyle culture of a group of people who thought they were left behind and really not paid attention to. So they had to create their own version of CNN, as they say, to report what was happening in the neighborhoods they were growing up in, right? And now that style has kind of been, bastardized in some ways to just kind of take away the most negative parts and just give people more of those things, whether it's half-naked women that we saw in music videos when it was male rappers, to now the half-naked women are the rappers, because they're like, hey, we can just go ahead and kill, two birds once and just take away the middleman. We got something here, guy, And I mean, honestly, we're seeing if, you look at all these reality television shows that are still number one and still top of the list. What happens is, people say, hey, these people are doing these crazy things. They're fighting each other, but then we go back to, they're making money. They're able to pay their mortgage. They're able to have celebrity and write books and do all these other things.
And they're incentivized to fight. Like, if you look at the behind the scenes or you catch these side videos from these episodes and these internet stars and these people on these reality shows, it's in the script. Like, and they're actors. Like, they are still actors too. Yes, they call it reality TV, but you got to realize they're reading the script. They're flowing from a script and something's playing. And as Mike always says, if it bleeds, it leads. So just think about that when you think about how much controversy comes up on these shows that keeps you tapped in. Like, how much of your brain energy are you wasting following a storyline that's not even real, even though they make it look real? Again, that's that being in the world and not of the world that you cannot get caught up in, even when you're doing mindless behavior like binge watching reality TV that is not reality TV, and we know it and we still look at it. No different than wrestling.
So with that saying, to continue this theme, we want to go ahead and bring up the Whiz of the Week. Yes, the Whiz of the Week. Yes, we want to continue the theme of the state of ratchet culture and capitalism across the country, but bring it to the Whiz of the Week, because as we're discussing this, we've had, of course, Mighty Joe Young, as I said in one episode, but yes, Joe Biden is still out there on his campaign to just tell people he's fit enough to run for president while he's still actually president, and we're questioning whether or not he should run for president, yet not questioning the fact that he still actually is the president. And the reason why that's insignificant is because We've stopped talking about major issues. We've stopped talking about what's going on overseas and genocides and all these other things that we know where we've witnessed because we've allowed the news to take our attention somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And so this is interesting to me because I've always had this thesis and wonder, because, you start to see the government ties to the media and to the acting world and stuff. And I always used to say to myself, from all of our past presidents, our president's just the greatest actors since Reagan, right? Whoever's the best actor who can make people feel good or say a few right things or even be the best distraction. Is that the methodology now, going back to this state of Ratchet culture and capitalism? Because they're always talking about donors. All this money gets raised by presidents to run, or they're, the other person they're running against. They're raising millions, if not billions of dollars to run ads. And we're debating Supreme Courts who are telling people they can't be homeless anymore. Like, we really are in a unique state of things when we allow for so much ratchet to distract us and then allow for capitalism to play us like pawn pieces simply for someone to increase their bottom line and forget that they'll leave idle minds to just really suffer. So I say that with the Wizard of the Week, as we've looked at what's going on with the Dems, and even Joe Biden this week, he was at NATO trying to show world leaders that he still had it together. So again, we're not talking about Trump and his felonies. We're not talking about Trump's own cognitive dissidence. We're talking about the current sitting president, whether or not he should run for president again. And then on top of that, when he's trying to make a case for us to believe in him, he's literally mixing up world leaders' names with their opponents, the people that they're up against. He was talking with President Zelensky, introducing him, and then he calls him Putin. Like, all these things are happening. He's trying to make a case for us to say he's the guy that's going to defeat Trump. And then we're like, people are still rooting for Trump, and Trump has so many reasons why we should not want him. But again, ratchet culture, someone who was a reality television star, who has already been president, who showed you who he was, who said the things he wanted to say, good, bad, and indifferent. And we have to understand that when it comes to elections, I keep saying that each episode we talk about this, is not, you will not choose the president. These powerful donors, these constituents, these people out here in these markets they call electoral college, these people are the ones who ultimately will pick who becomes the president based on economic and other agenda-based items, particularly Project 2025, which is something that is heavily pushed by the Heritage Foundation, but people would say they're more Republican-leaning, but I think it's more about being conservative, right? And they have an agenda. My question is, do the Democrats have an agenda for the American people? Or are we just saying, well, they've done this, that, and this, look what we've done for you, not necessarily what we're still going to keep doing for you, and they're attacking their own guy. This is crazy, y'all. But this is the state of ratchet culture, social media, and all of our opinions to weigh in. We all become talking heads and commentators. We're all podcast hosts with an opinion. And ultimately, we get into this mishmash that we're all doing it ultimately to take care of our families, communities, the people we communicate, and then companies because we're trying to make that money so we can continue to keep the cycle of our livelihoods going. Isn't that crazy, y'all?
Yeah, it's powerful to look at it that way. And then it also helps us do that self-exam, like what's your why? And how far are you willing to go for your why? Because if there's, it goes back to when we think about culture and our influence, I have been fond of and been attributing my practices for a kingdom mindset and having a kingdom business. Meaning, I'm building businesses that serve the greater good, not just my family. And I know that there are many of you out there doing the same thing, that you're thinking about more than yourself. But when you make those decisions and bottom lines come, we all have that moment when we have that contract in front of us from something that may be compromising or devaluing to ourselves that you may think will be just one time. What is it really worth? Is it a dollar sign that you will be for sale for that could impact generations to come in a way that will set us back? Think about that the next time you write your skits for a laugh. What is the long-term impact of someone finding funny a pain or sorrow that you may be experiencing when it comes to how we are investing ourselves into capitalism and growing our business.
The long-term impact. And it's funny, earlier in the show, you heard me breaking down, the last couple of decades. I'm 41 now, and I was breaking down the last couple of decades since I was 21. And just going back, knowing that I've always had a mindset, even at 21, of what I would be doing to serve my 31-year-old version of myself. And at 31, I'm sure I had the mindset of what I would be doing for my current self. And one thing I'm grateful is Michael Stewart Isaacs is, and y'all know who I am, Google me if you don't know. But I like being that guy behind the wall of people who are out here not only just being influencers, but being change makers and really whispering in ears to really send encouragement. And that's what we've been really building here with Sunday Stacks and all the productions we're building through I Am Brilliant, the I Am Brilliant Tour, and the work that me and Shemekka have been doing for years to really continue to empower our community to go deeper into our thought leadership. Some people may consider us a think tank. Some people may look at us as a production company or social media influencers. You could say we're a little bit of it all. But one thing, we are dedicated to continue to open up your mind and your mindset to new things that can really continue to grow your family, your community, and company. And keeping it that simple to help us have a better sense of what a moral compass could and should look like when we continue to look to grow our legacies. So one thing I want to throw out quickly as a quick wrapping up quote, of course, we know, again, with the Wiz and things coming up, you got convention season coming up soon. The Republicans up first, and then you'll have the Democrats coming up. I think they're out of Chicago this year. I want to say the Republicans are in Ohio. So, there's a lot of things going on in regards to politics swaying us through multiple parties. Me and Shemekka were very conscious before we came on with this show. And don't forget, there are third-party options out there, right? Definitely want people to start listening to Brother Cornel West, and not only just listen to him as someone, not to just say I'm endorsing him, but just listen to his ideas and his messages and how more nuanced they are to your actual everyday life than some of the talking points that we hear from Democrats and Republicans, where they look at blocks of people that they want to get riled up so that way you're angry when you go to the polls instead of inspired, because you're actually hearing a leader that has new ideas that actually make you believe in yourself, believe in your country, and in that, take that FCC model and really do your thing that we're trying to help inspire. So that's kind of what I just want to lay that out there because it's important. But I want to take a quick closing quote. I heard the good brother Reverend Dr. William Barber, a North Carolina native, shout out North Carolina. Dr. Reverend Barber, he wrote a book called White Poverty and Poor. It's called White Poverty. It's a unique thing. He's the founder of the Poor People's Campaign, for those who may be familiar with Reverend Barber. And he said a unique quote I saw on The Daily Show. He made it where he said, we have to be able to engage in agitation, legislation, litigation, and voter participation. Let me say that again. We must focus to engage in agitation, legislation, litigation, and voter participation. So when we look at the breakdown of that, going further into this man's quote, is that the agitation part is what we're doing here, right? We're encouraging you to think. We're poking the bear. We're talking about these big political figures. But I want you, again, to look at who your DAs are going to be this year. Look at who your senators and your Congress people are going to be, and start looking at those people just as much as we're being distracted to just look at two different men who are, in my opinion, just actors who are going to do whatever capitalistic interests want them to do towards bettering those people they playing golf with, and they said it themselves. Then they're worried about me and you. But that's just one man's take. The litigation part of it is being able, or I should say legislation is the laws that come forth that we actually have written in the book. So those are your Congress people who will be the ones picking those, being able to draft those laws, create bills, be able to have enough votes in the House, enough votes in the Senate, so they can actually take ideas that come from the people and actually are out there to implement them. Then you have litigation, that's our courts. That's our ability to have judges on the federal level, on the state level, your local county judges. You need these people to be in place that you'll be able to vote for, which was our fourth instance, which is voter participation, where you'll be able to be the ones to choose who those people are and those ideas that they start making into policy. So our policies, the police, policy, all these things are all about our agitations and our participation in the process. And we have to continue that cycle even after election, that we continue to make sure the people we vote into power actually do the things we want them to do. But more importantly, what we're trying to achieve with the I Am Brilliant movement is get you to be the leader that you're looking for in your family, community, and company. So therefore, there is no worry about voting for just one person, that we have ourselves to be accountable, and your neighbors and everyone around you, because we all live to the same philosophy of making sure that our family, community, and company are empowered and impacted for a greater future. So I'll get off my soapbox. I hope you heard that. You know, that's why we record these Sunday Stacks episodes, to really just take how we're feeling and really translate it to you, the audience. And we appreciate you so much. We got to come up with a clever name for our Sunday Stacks listeners. So we're going to work on that to definitely, connect with y'all. So put some ideas in the chats, put some ideas in the comments. If you're on YouTube, definitely like and subscribe. You're here on the Live Podcast Network. Shemekka, you want to tell them what they can do?
Yes, definitely check us out on the Live Podcast Network. Download the app, subscribe to Sunday Stacks, and really tap in. We are releasing these every Sunday to give you something fresh, something thoughtful, something that is inspirational and considerate of where you are, to help you get to where you're going. So find us on the Live Podcast Network. If you want to do the replay, definitely you can check out some replays in the app, as well as on YouTube on Sunday Stacks.
So thank you so much to you, the listeners. We appreciate your time. Again, listen to other editions of this show. We look forward to our next episode next week. As we always wrap up, we always like to remind you that I am brilliant and you are too. Thank you again for joining us at this edition of Sunday Stacks, and we'll see you next week. Peace.